people, is that yellow or green? I'm colorblind, what do I know? Green, look at that green, look at how many people. These are her patients, her people she works with. 10 miles is not easy. This isn't, we're gonna walk a 5K to leisure. This is run 10 miles. That's the measure of greatness, and we have that in our speaker, Dr. Christine Meyer. Let's give it up.
I think of runners as these type of guys. Lean, mean, glistening bodies. They make running look like something you should want to do. I'm pretty sure that these runners don't lay in bed in the morning and go, oh, I cannot believe I have to do 5 miles today. But that's not really the point. A few weeks ago, one of our newer members of the team emailed me, and she said, I'm really nervous about running 10 miles. You see, I am not a runner. Well, Amanda Kent, what you don't know is that tomorrow morning, with about 153 other non-runners, we're all going to haul our butts back to the Pink Corral, every one of us. And I heard that's like in New Jersey this year, but it's okay. And together, guess what we're going to do? We're going to run 10 miles. And it doesn't matter that you're not a runner. It really doesn't. What we are really good at is taking selfies. So this group of non-running, kind of not the fastest people you ever met, is pretty awesome at selfie taking, and there's lots of these in my presentation today. I want to tell you the 3 reasons my team exists. It's really very simple. Number 1 is my aunt. Number 2 is my Facebook addiction. I'm coming clean today. And number 3 is my community that is sick to tired of cancer. Just sick of it. This is where I might cry. Growing up, I was my aunt's shadow. Wherever she was, I was. Where she went, I went. And whatever she did, I tried to do. I remember the exact moment I knew I was going to be a doctor. I think I was about 4, and she had brought home these bones to study from medical school. And she was touching them and analyzing them, and I didn't know why she was doing that. I just knew one day I was going to do that. Fast forward, 20 years later, she was at my medical school graduation. And she was the one who actually graduated me to doctorhood. And she handed me my medical degree. And she kissed me on the cheek and she said, you're going to make a difference. It may be a big one and it may be a small one, but you will make a difference. And those are the words that I have carried with me. She's not just my mentor, she's my hero. And then in July of 2012, she almost died. A huge tumor in her colon perforated, and after an emergency surgery, she was left with a colostomy fighting for her life. Despite being one of the most conscientious physicians I have ever known, she never got a colonoscopy. When she got that news in the hospital that night, she held my hand and she said, don't worry, I am totally going to be fine. In my heart, I knew she was going to be fine. She had to be fine. For purely selfish reasons, I needed her. She did not have an option of not being fine. Well, about 7 months later, New Year's Eve, 2012, she wasn't really fine. Chemo and cancer took their toll. She had fever after fever, more surgery, she was exhausted, she lost weight, she got neuropathy, she had to stop working. At the exact same time, 2 of my dearest patients were fighting for their lives. Debbie McLaughlin was 41 and had stage 4 metastatic melanoma. She was given months to live and had 5 children under the age of 7. Joe Dunn was at the end of an 8-year battle with stage 4 colon cancer. 8 years, he had stage 4, and he was coming to the end of his road. So my Aunt Debbie and Joe, besides cancer, they had one other thing in common: me. And despite my medical training and my unabounding love for them, I was not making a difference. I could do nothing for them. And that's what weighed so heavily on me that New Year's Eve day in 2012. And it sort of brought out my own disease. It's known as FB-ADD. Some of you may have that. It's very sad, don't laugh. It's called Facebook Attention Deficit Disorder. So, now when you're kind of randomly stalking people's Facebook pages and you're clicking on links and you don't know why you're doing it, the next thing you know, it's been hours and you've just been sucked in. So I have that, but that particular day was a good thing, because I came across a link for the Philadelphia Broad Street Run, and I had it. That was it. I would train to run 10 miles. That would fix everything. It would pull me out of my slump. There was just one tiny problem. Broad Street Run registration wouldn't open for another like 6 weeks, and then it was going to be a lottery. Well, I saw that and I'm like, good God, I cannot even muster the energy to get out of bed and get dressed right now. I am not signing up for a lottery. I was about to give up. And just when I was going to shut down, I noticed this very familiar red, white, and blue logo. As a doctor, I knew firsthand what the American Cancer Society did every single day. And the fine print was pretty simple. You can guarantee your spot in Broad Street right now. Just start a little charity team, raise some money. Okay, I could totally do that. I handed out those pamphlets every single day. Colonoscopies, HPV, stop smoking, all put out by the American Cancer Society, all for free. I had a newly diagnosed cancer patient. Guess where the first place was I sent them? The American Cancer Society website. Good, sound information, support, resources. It was a great marriage. I run Broad Street, I train for a 10-mile race. American Cancer Society gets a few bucks. It would work out just perfectly. And that, my friends, is where Team CMMD was born, that simple moment. At that time, I didn't really have a vision, and people ask me that all the time. What was your vision for your team? I want to get to the finish line and maybe raise a couple bucks. That was, honest to God, that was it. But I figured if I was calling it a team, it would be good if I had like more than me. So I texted my nurse, my right-hand man. Tom has worked for me for a lot of years, and he is a really hard worker. That picture in the middle is him on a Friday night after our work week. He also is a very, very, very active runner, and he's very passionate about cancer because not long ago he lost his older brother Glenn to tongue cancer. I knew Tom would be all in, and sure enough, he was. So there you are, me and Tom, Team CMMD. Naturally, I had to have a Facebook page, right? This is the very real post of our first team post ever. I basically just said, hey, we've got this team. There's 2 of us. Want to join us? If not, give us some money. I never, ever in a million years could have predicted what would happen. One of the first people that responded to my request was Wendy Ford. Wendy was in my office one day and not feeling very good about life for herself, right, Wen? And at the same time, her mother had battled cancer not 1 or 2, but 8 times. And her brother Joe had just been diagnosed with the same exact cancer my aunt had. Wendy was all in. She didn't know what she was getting into, but she was all in, right, Wen? After Wendy came a few more and a few more, and before we knew it, our team had grown from 2 to 47. We had 47 runners on April 15th, 2013, and we had raised a lot of money, $20-something thousand. right, Earl? That's what it was around then. It was in the 20s, yeah. And so I heard about the Boston Marathon bombings, and my heart fell. Honest to God, I was scared. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not running Broad Street. I have 3 kids. I need to not get killed at the end of this race. But I was also really worried that my team would just fall apart. Who would have the strength to run a race like this, another iconic city race 2 weeks after this major bombing? So I sent a message out to all of my teammates, and I expected fully that many of them would drop out. And at the end of that message, I said, listen, I will respect whatever decision you make. Team CMMD will cross the finish line at Broad Street, and it may be just 2 feet. Within hours, honest to God, it was before the sunset that night, every single one of those 47 people responded to me. And sure enough, on May 5th, 2013, every single one of those 47 crossed the finish line. And in those 2 weeks, we had raised another several $1,000s. We were up to $65,000 by race day. After the race, we had a big party, and in my Cinco de Mayo celebrating, I had one too many margaritas, and made the proud proclamation, 100 runners, $100,000 next year, yes! And there was 100 people in my backyard, and it was silent. And then this collective groan, like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. Don't get me wrong, I totally had buyer's remorse the next day. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, but something really special had happened on that team. We had made these major bonds, these lifelong friendships, you know, the kind of friends that could tell you anything. And it was on a midsummer run with 2 of those friends when I first said, I'm not doing it. There's no way I can do Broad Street again. We'll never meet that goal. It is not humanly possible. What if we fail? And you know what they said? They said, you have to try. You just have to try. We could make a difference. And so they held me to it, and I registered the team again, not knowing what would happen. I invited anybody who was interested in signing up for Team CMMD to come to a kickoff meeting at my house. I put it out there, I said, RSVP if you think you could come. A couple hours before, I'm like, 5 or 10 people will show up. 65 came to my house that night. 65 people. Didn't know what they were getting into, but they were all in, ready to sign on. In that group of people, there was a lot of determination, and I just want to tell you about a few of those people. Earl Deering Jr. So when I met Earl, he was training for a 5K, and he came out to one of our group runs and ran 5 miles. Okay. The next week, he ran 10, and 2 weeks later, he ran the Broad Street Run for the first time. Now, Earl admits that wasn't a smart thing to do, but it wasn't the hardest thing Earl would have to do. This year, he will have had 3 surgeries to correct for a basal cell carcinoma on his face. And guess what? Despite all those surgeries, he has not missed a single group run. And he's gone from the back of the pack, where he apparently really liked the view, to the front of the pack. Terry Barthol, she's right behind Earl here. 5 years ago, Terry had a baby and developed bilateral femoral neuropathy and was in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk. Tomorrow, she's going to run 10 miles for the first time ever. In 2011, Diane Quinn was diagnosed with thyroid cancer and lost a pregnancy in her 2nd trimester. She was depressed, defeated. She had nowhere to turn. A friend of hers casually mentioned our team, and Diane said, I don't even run, I never run. But she came out to a group run. And she told me later that that group run changed her life. She said we had this, you can do it, we can do it together attitude that she desperately needed. Diane now has gone to the front of our group runs. She leads us in pace, she leads us in spirit. She has done 6 runs in the last 12 months, 2 of them being half marathons. sitting right in front of me. When I met her, Maria weighed 300 pounds. And she had a dream to run Broad Street. She actually was going to in 2011. But she was used to people telling her she can't. She was not the kind of girl that could run 10 miles. And so she didn't. Well, in the time since, Maria has shed 135 pounds. And more importantly, she has shed that lifetime of low self-esteem and no, you can't. Tomorrow, Maria, you're gonna run 10 miles because yes, you can. We are a group of the unlikeliest friends you guys are ever gonna meet. Our kids don't go to school together, they don't play soccer together, we don't live in the same neighborhoods. We are professionals and laborers, we're school teachers, students, stay-at-home moms, and single dads. And we're brought together by one thing and one thing only, this deep, burning need to make a difference, to be a part of something good. And nothing demonstrates that being a part of something good like a little fundraising event we like to call the food fight. This is the one thing we did really to raise a lot of money. It's very simple. It's a cooking competition. Me and a friend go head to head. We cook 5 courses. We present them to a room full of people. Our paying guests vote on a winner. Easy. Big problem. No restaurant owner in their right mind would turn over their restaurant on a Friday night to a couple of amateurs for $0. So we were in trouble right from the get-go. And then I ran into an old friend who was sharing with me, literally in Athleta in the King of Prussia Mall, that her father-in-law was dying of brain cancer. And her father-in-law happened to own a lot of real estate. And one of the buildings he owned was the Downingtown Country Club. My friend Jen got us the Downingtown Country Club for our event, and then she and her husband promptly signed up to run the race with us tomorrow. We thought we were out of the woods. We put it out there. In 2 days, we sold out 250 tickets. 2 days. But that's when the trouble really started. We had an epic snowstorm that collapsed the roof of the Downingtown Country Club. 2 weeks before, we were told, don't worry, it's totally going to happen. Okay, we plowed ahead. The day before, we started our monumental prep. Imagine cooking 10 plates of food for 250 people. There's a lot of work to do. And we're midway through, I turn on the sink, and there's this rancid sulfuric smell. And I was like, oh, that's just Tom's cooking. It's all good. There's nothing wrong here at all. No such luck. A pipe had burst underneath the kitchen floor. Crews had to come in to break up the concrete and fix the pipe. We were totally kicked out of the kitchen. We didn't know if the event was going to go on or not. But my team would not say no. They kept cooking. We didn't know if we were going to have a kitchen to cook in. They moved everything to the bar and kept at it and kept at it. They cooked, the plumber guys worked, and I basically sat in the corner and cried. It was honestly about 20 hours before our first guests were due to arrive that we got word that it was going to go through, that all our guests were going to be there on time and our event was going to go on. And so this is what we did. We served 250 people, 2,360 plates of food. We poured 1,000 glasses of wine and then some. We tallied tens of thousands of votes. Our own Kat Homnack, is she here? She's here. Woo! Kat Homnack baked and packaged 1,000 Snickerdoodle cookies in honor of Jack Lowe, our gracious host who literally months before had lost that battle with brain cancer. So all those things we did would not have been possible without this. We had nearly 100 volunteers that night. Nearly 100 volunteers. Not one of them got paid 1 cent to be there for hours at a time. And in the end, because of these guys, in one night, our team had generated $51,000. In the silent auction, we had had this huge silent auction, and one of the things that wasn't even presented, but just sort of happened because somebody had too much to drink, was 2 meals cooked by me in a winner's home, okay? Christine will come to your house and cook for 10 in your home, and bidding starts at $1,000. Wouldn't you know, 2 families paid $3,500 each to have me cook in their home. $3,500 each. When my husband Chris heard that, he was like, oh my God, I'd be happy if you just cook for 5 once in a while. We have gone through some stuff, man, after that food fight. We've run through whiteout snowstorms. We've run on ice an inch thick. We've slogged through mud and run through pouring rain. That's determination. Karen Madrigal has a fractured ankle. She literally has a fractured fibula. She's like taped from her ankle to her thigh practically. Tomorrow, guess what she's gonna do? She's gonna run 10 miles. That's determination. Every runner on our team that had something to give besides their 2 feet gave it freely. Lee Prescott is sitting right up front here. Lee is responsible for our Team CMMD logo. Every piece of printed material you see coming out of our team, she designed in her spare time for nothing. One of the things that is so awesome that Lee came up with is this car magnet. And just by chance, one of our runners, Teresa Aresta, who moved here from Baltimore and knows nobody, she's been in our community for, a few months, joined the team just because she needed something to get her acclimated, came up with this notion of flipping the car magnet. So all over town, if anybody sees one of the CMMD magnets, they flip it over as a show of camaraderie. It's like a community phenomenon. People are flipping magnets all over town. Kids are like fighting each other to get to flip the magnet. It's just awesome, and it's all because of Lee. Elaine Goss, she is our designated cheerleader, and she has actually run with pom-poms, cheering people on. But more than that, she has this way of seeking out the discouraged, the injured, the depressed, the defeated, and offering them some sort of encouragement on and off the trail. Jamie Stanek is right here. Jamie is our resident photographer and our comic relief. So I love to offer challenges to my team to get them motivated to come to the run or raise a few dollars. But one day my challenge was, come to the most group runs and you will win a night at the Philadelphia Four Seasons before Broad Street. So tonight, one lucky girl is sleeping at the Four Seasons. The way we were going to document these run attendances was through our weekly group photo. Well, not to be outdone, Jamie photoshopped a little bit, and I don't know if you can see it, but his face is superimposed on 30 different bodies in this picture. Not legit, Jamie, sorry. Besides our running talent, we had a whole army of non-running supporters. Doug Prescott, Lee's husband. Doug served as our team treasurer, our voice of quiet reason. He got up every Sunday morning before 7 to take our weekly group shot. Tom and Amy O'Grady, not runners. They sacrificed weeks and months of their lives preparing for the food fight. Rebecca Ulmer, who's down in the bottom there next to her husband wearing glasses. 8 months ago, she had a massive stroke. She's 39 years old. She was given less than a 5% chance of surviving. This year, she has been indispensable to our team. And I'm just going to say this because there's only one way to say it. Without my husband, Chris, none of this would have been possible. Karen Baker, just months after having her left leg amputated, joined us for the food fight. As I watched her struggling up and down steps, carrying boxes, juggling clipboards, her message was loud and clear. Leiomyosarcoma, you do not own me. Someone once said, A great leader is measured not by their power, but by their ability to empower others. I am not a great leader. I am empowered by those that look to me for leadership. I am not a runner, but I run with my aunt and my patients and my team in my heart. I've not saved lives, but boy, have I been saved by them. 363 days ago exactly, I made this crazy proclamation. 100 runners, $100,000. Boy, was I wrong.
Okay, our next speaker is Derek Fitzgerald. We all have stories of how we started running. Some of us